The only real place outside of heaven where you can be perfectly safe from all the dangers, disorder and confusion of love is hell. How do you love someone after 58 years? It's not all these heavy-duty romantic, heart-thumping stuff. It's not like that. It's far more a choice.
The issue is having a lot of ego attached to ourselves and seeing life based on that ego.
I look at people now, even just friends or all the stuff that you see on social media. It is so sexualized.
We live in a society where there's social media, all of these things, there's just a lot of fake things out there. Nowadays, people get in relationship just to say that they're in a relationship.
Yes.
So if I asked you and said, what part of love feels confusing to you?
Every part.
You shouldn't make your expectations too high because love, marriage is a very long journey.
There will be young girls watching this episode that will be thinking, I do the very same thing.
Yes.
I keep going back and back and back, even though I know it's not healthy for me. What would you say to them? Is love a feeling or an action? Or is it commitment?
I think it.
Joel Benisha here, the Discover You podcast. We are here in the Brisbane branch on our very first episode. Get excited, everybody. We have some special guests today in today's episode. And today's topic is all about relationship fulfillment. And without any further ado, I've got three special guests. I'm going to start with the one on my right now, Chelsea.
Joel, thanks for having me.
How are you feeling, Chelsea?
Great. I love chatting about relationships. It's something that the last 2 years of my life has been a journey. It's been the center of my world and navigating life outside of being in a relationship.
Yeah.
So
let me start with simple question. Where are you from?
I'm from Brisbane.
Yeah.
I'm a mother of two.
Yeah.
I'm a real estate agent.
And where are you in terms of relationship right now?
I am very much single and I'm very happy about being single.
Yeah, perfect. Next we have Duku. Many of you guys know him a lot from the stuff that he's done with Rich Dreams. And so Duku, let's start with the first question. Where are you from?
Where am I from? I was born in a refugee camp in Uganda.
Yeah.
My parents are from South Sudan. And I've been living in Australia for such a long time to a point where I feel like my Aussie accent is finally coming out. How's it going, man? How are you? Yes, but living in Brisbane at the moment.
Beautiful. Where are you in terms of relationship right now?
In terms of relationship at the moment, I am single, but it's one of those things where, I do also have cultural connotations where I come from, when it comes to relationship or getting married. It's not so much, more of an individual decision. I mean, that is there. But at the same time, you have to consider, the cultural aspect and things like that as well. Yes. And because of that, I think at the moment, my family is trying to get me to marry, to make sure that they can have the cultural celebrations. And my parents are wanting more grandchildren.
Yes. Give it to them. Then we got Jim. Jim, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thanks, yes.
So tell us about where you're from.
I'm from Australia, but I've been from various places. So I've lived in Mexico, I've lived in the United States.
Oh, you lived in the US?
Yes. I went over there when I was married to do post-doctoral studies in inorganic chemistry.
Wow.
So I've been married for 58 years, so I've had a very long-term relationship.
Yeah.
Look, no relationship is easy. You've got to work really hard on it to make it continue to work.
Yeah.
So, I'll talk about some of the struggles and those sorts of things with the next questions that you ask.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, I guess, so you said 58 years, correct? You've been married for 58 years?
58, that's
58,
right.
5'8".
Yes.
Not 6'7".
Oh my goodness.
My kids help me with that.
And I have 3 daughters.
Yeah.
They're all married. I have 8 grandchildren, 4 of whom are married.
What a family.
I've got 1 great grandchild in the oven about to be delivered, yes.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. So, Duku,
Yes.
in terms of your relationship status, if I asked you and said, what's the longest relationship you've been in? What would you say?
The longest relationship I've been in, I would say about 1.5 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how long did that end? Is that recently?
I would say that is about, it ended around 2 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. So what's one thing that relationship taught you the hard way?
One thing, it's one of those things where um, I feel like when we're growing up, there are times where we don't know ourselves fully.
Yeah.
And, we still have some of the childish ways of doing things here and there. And I think that relationship, what it taught me was being able to know myself much better
Yeah.
and knowing, what my boundaries are and making sure that, I'm able to have healthy boundaries. And I feel like that is something which a lot of people not only neglect, but they don't think about.
Yeah.
I agree.
You agreed on that, Chelsea?
Absolutely, because I was in a relationship from a very young age.
Yeah.
And I had no boundaries. I didn't know what was unhealthy in a relationship. I was too young. I was too young to know that certain things were not okay. But in my mind, being so young, I thought, oh, he loves me. It doesn't matter if it makes me feel sad. It just must mean he loved me.
How old are you when you started that relationship?
15,
Wow. So how long did that relationship go for?
14 years.
Wow. And so boundaries was lacking. What else was lacking?
Self-respect,
Yeah.
any self-worth. I felt like I was now that I look at it, I was under the thumb of someone that
Yeah.
was older than me.
Yeah.
And I just feel that from a very young age, you are easily manipulated
Yeah.
into thinking that something is love when it's definitely not.
And I think, there's also the sense of being able to differentiate love and infatuation.
Yes.
Yes. I think that.
And lust.
Yeah.
While we're on that topic, let's bring up the big question here. There's many people watching and they might be wondering, okay, this relationship that I'm in, is this love or is this infatuation? What's the difference?
Jim, let's start with you with that.
Yes.
What's the difference?
One of the things is that when you move into the physical fairly early in a relationship, it's very confusing in terms of communication, because the physical in many ways stops communication because it feels so good. You think you're communicating, but you're actually not. So I'm glad you guys have mentioned boundaries, because in the first 3 relationships I had, I didn't get the boundaries right. With my last one, which was my wife, then I did get it right, because we agreed it together. We said this and no further, and that's it. We will hold each other accountable, and it was really very, very helpful, because that meant that you spent time talking a lot to each other, doing things together without the physical, because with the physical, it's very confusing, because we're such sexual human beings.
Yeah.
That it distracts you from the real thing of what a very long-term relationship, my 58 years. And the physical is important.
Yeah.
But it's nowhere near as important as the ongoing communication and the relationship, being able to resolve issues and those sorts of things. Yeah.
What's your take on that?
Absolutely. That is amazing and so true, because I look at people now, even just friends or all the stuff that you see on social media.
Yeah.
It is so sexualized, and everyone, I feel, just lusts over the people that they are seeing online. So it's like you think you are into this person, but once you take away the physical, do you actually like the person, and their personality? If there's things, how do they act in family settings? How do they act when they're angry, upset? How would you feel helping that person in those moments? And then, so most of the time when it comes to those scenarios, people just go, oh, I don't like you anymore. Or you're not what I thought you were.
And to add on to that, because it's we may be like, do we like this person, or do we know this person? But one question we never actually think about asking is also, do we know ourselves? You know what I mean?
We probably don't.
Yeah.
So when my first 3 relationships, I didn't know myself. Even by the 4th, which is my wife, really know myself. I have to learn a huge amount.
Absolutely. Same.
Trial and error.
It is.
Yeah.
And for me too, being 15, I grew up being with this one person my whole life. Then I became a mother. And then I was also working in my job. So it was career, motherhood, being someone's fiance. Who was I outside of actually being those people to my job, him, my children? I had no idea. So when people would ask me what my hobbies were, what my interests, I actually could not answer.
And you would base some of your answer based on
Us,
being,
or being a mum, or my job.
So how long does it actually take to know yourself? Because I had an individual who is in the almost late 30s, and every time I speak to them, they told me about, hey, I really want to get married, but I still got to figure myself out. I'm still trying to get to know myself.
You know what I would.
I'm
what
still working on myself. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
And what I would say to that is, I believe we're all work in progress, and I think the best thing for us to know, and not just know, but to also acknowledge, is the fact that we have limitations. You know, like we may have shortcomings, and we may, you know, like have certain, you know, attributes or characteristics that, you know, like we may even not be aware of. And I think being, you know, like just having a level of acknowledgement of certain shortcomings, you know, like just being, you know, having a level of, you know, like that self-awareness that you may not know certain things, but you're still deserving of love. You know, you're still deserving of, you know, like of a genuine human connection. You know, I think those are some of the things that would probably help a lot of individuals. You know, I think the issue is having a lot of a level of ego attached to ourselves, and seeing life based on that ego. Because the moment ego gets, I believe, you know, like in the mix, we just become blind to who we are, you know, like what we provide and what the person needs.
Look, I don't think you can ever really know yourself. You can try very hard to know yourself, and it's a revelation through the whole of your life. When you get married, suddenly there's two of you, and that reveals an enormous amount more about who you are, because you're doing 24/7 together, and you find out the things that make you angry, all sorts of things you discover. So your friend, for example, he's never going to really know until he gets married just how evil and terrible you can be. You don't realise just how ugly you are, and how much of that ugliness has to be worked on.
But also,
with the other person too being ugly.
Yes, with the ugliness, what I find and have found since being separated for the last 2.5 years is that there were so many ugly parts of me that he would bring out. Because since we have not been together, those triggers, well, I mean, I haven't been finding myself, you know, getting angry over little things. One thing I used to do would be clean consistently. I'd be up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. scrubbing walls. Scrubbing skirting boards. So people would watch me online sharing this, you know, my cleaning techniques and habits and tricks, but I did not realise that was a coping mechanism for me because of how anxious I was. I felt like I was walking on eggshells all the time. So here was me making cleaning look like it was a good thing. But since we've not been together, I haven't actually been cleaning like that. I mean, I clean, everything has its place, but not to that extent.
Yes.
Because I would be worried about, oh, you know, what mood is that person going to be waking up in the morning?
Yes.
And so I would be the night before or the early mornings by cleaning.
And you did this for 14 years?
Yeah. I would clean
that's complete survival mode.
Yes.
Wow.
But I didn't realise until I wasn't in that space anymore.
What clicked? When you're saying realised, what clicked?
Well, just that another person's energy can really weigh heavily on who you are, and you don't realise how you conform to certain things that they do or say, and over time, those things build up and you start to act differently or not you're not who you are. Like I would never openly share stuff online the way I do now because then I would be in fear of him seeing what I might post and then attacking me for it or making me feel.
So if I asked you and said, what part of love feels confusing to you right now?
What part of love feels confusing? Every part.
Every part from start to finish.
Everything about love is so confusing because you experience love as a mother and as a parent in one way. And I know what that love feels like with my children. But with the person, with the like a partner.
Yeah.
I don't know because I don't even know. I mean, I know what I want from my partner, but I don't think people know what they want, and that's what's so confusing. Is it just from conversations I've had with people? Their timelines, like it just doesn't make sense to me, and I think that's the problem is that they're not sure what they want or how they want to be loved. That some people don't even know what their love languages are. So I don't know.
Let me read a quote. I deliberately bought it. This is from C.S. Lewis. I'll read it twice because you may not get it the first time. The only real place outside of heaven where you can be perfectly safe from all the dangers, disorder, and confusion of love is hell. So I'll read it again in case you didn't get it. The only real place outside of heaven where things are supposed to be perfect, where you can be perfectly safe from all the dangers, disorder, and confusion of love is hell. That's where there's no love. So it is very confusing. And how do you love someone after 58 years? So it's not all these heavy-duty romantic, heart thumping stuff. It's not like that. It's far more a choice. You say, okay, I made a promise. I'm going to stick with you for a lifetime. I'm going to continue to choose to love you no matter what. Now, I don't think in your situation where there was some abuse and whatever, I think that's a very different thing. But we're just two normal human beings that are not doing really ugly stuff, then you have to learn how to love a person through thick and thin and through all the trials and traumas of life.
So is love a feeling or an action? Or is it a commitment in your sense? What is love?
I think it should result in action. And I think there's a problem if there's no feeling. It may not be that much romantic, because in the early days of love and falling in love and all that, huge amount of romance and just you've got to be with each other and all the rest of it, got to make that phone call.
That's what people lack now.
2 hours, 3 hours,
on the phone call.
Kicking your...
And it's on the phone lines with the cords and you sit against the wall and, there's none of that.
Before you know it, you're cleaning something while on the phone.
Yeah.
But you can't continue because you can't continue with that level of emotion.
Why not though?
It's like any emotion. All emotions sort of come and go. You can't live at that height. It's just impossible for human beings to do that. And if you think you can, you're deceiving yourself. And so you're not really going to get love. But love progresses from that really romantic stuff to where a deep trust and belonging occurs. And that continues to grow, where you completely trust each other. You like being with each other. You like chatting about things. Most of the time you're not chatting, but sometimes you're chatting. And there's the connection. And that's the closest person you are. You can tell them things, but you don't want to tell other people.
Yes.
Etc. etc. You both love your kids. You're desperate to see them do well. And then when you've got grandkids, you do the same. but you're all doing it together.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's a little bit romanticized because there's lots of.
But it's what a lot of people
Yeah.
do romanticize about.
That's right. But there's
But they
there's
miss
the
fundamentals.
terrorist stuff in it as well.
Yeah.
Well, is
The dangers, disorder, and confusion.
Yes.
well, is that the romance part of love, trying to maintain that feeling all across your entire relationship? Is that the fantasy that's causing a lot of breakups right now and divorces?
I think it's unrealistic. And back in the day when your husband or wife was chosen for you, there was no romance to begin with. So it was just an expectation that your parents chose this person, you're going to live with that person, and you're going to make a marriage. Hopefully it would end up happy. A lot of them didn't end up happy, but a lot of them did end up happy, and they did actually fall in love with each other. Not in that sort of romantic way, but just they really loved each other just in a deep, emotional sort of way.
And I feel like that is most important.
Mm.
The emotional connection. Someone could be physically attractive to me, but if there is no emotional connection or emotional maturity, I don't care how attractive you are, I'm not into you.
Yes, that's right.
And I will not get into a bed with you if I am not. Because for me, the emotional connection is far more attractive and what gets me going as opposed to someone that is physically good looking.
Yeah, and I feel like, especially in the current society where everything is, hypersexualized and hyper, fantasized, and at the same time, we live in a society where, whether it's social media, all of these things, there's just a lot of fake things out there, to a point where we're more focused on, like the physical attributes, just all of those different things. But when we think about it, as humans, that connection, is what drives us.
Yes.
And I think knowing that you're somewhat, you have a level of connection with someone, I feel like nowadays people get in relationship just to say that they're in a relationship.
Yes.
And sometimes they use it, whether it's for social media, all of those things.
Or to fill a void because
Exactly.
they think they're healed.
Yeah, exactly. You've seen them jumping from one to the other to the other, but then you they never actually take the time to see whether there's a void over there, or to see whether there's actually an emotional connection.
Yeah.
And I feel like from what Jim has been saying, whether there is actually a choice of you wanting to be in a relationship, for in a long-term relationship, because what happens when that feeling, those emotions disappear?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's
would you
right.
just be reactive to those emotions, or would you be proactive in terms of making the decision?
Well, let me ask you this while you're talking about choice.
Yeah.
What scares you the most, Duku? Is that choosing wrong or not choosing at all?
I feel like being in a relationship is probably the biggest decision, and not just being in a relationship, but being able to be in a relationship with someone in a long term, that just like Jim, that you can build a life with, you can see your grandchildren grow and all of those things.
Yeah.
And the truth is there is never a right or wrong choice, I believe, in life. There's always different circumstances that will have different parts to play. But I think for me, what scares me is, just levels of uncertainties, because you never know what you don't know. And you never know the different things that may come out along the way. So
The choosing wrong bit is more scarier because you're so uncertain about what the other person is going to bring to the table.
to a certain extent, but at the same time, being able to know that what I can also bring to the table would be, would be something that I can contribute. Sometimes in relationship there may be a level of power imbalances. Some individuals may have different personalities. Their personalities may be stronger than the other individual, and then before you know it, it may feel like that one person may be suffocating the other individual. So making sure that I don't put myself in a certain stage like that, but at the same time, I also don't project that as well. Yeah.
So you mentioned about making the wrong decision and the uncertainty of the other partner. And so let's talk about decision making.
Yes.
You're in a position where you haven't got married yet. I'm
Yes.
in a very certain position.
But
James,
what's
Hold on,
your
let's hear
relationship
it.
status, brother?
I'm single right now. I'm also trying to get married. So Jim's married for 58 years. Chelsea's been engaged before and broken up.
Yes.
Now, let's put a question down on the table right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
For those of us that are still that still have this positive mentality and still positive outlook on love,
I don't want
and
that.
are still trying to find somebody, what should we be expecting on this journey of finding the one? Is there such thing as the one?
I think that you shouldn't make your expectations too high, because love, marriage is a very long journey, and you don't really. It's important that you do your preparatory work, that you go out with each other long enough. You don't sexualize the relationship early. So you do actually do things together and talk about all sorts of things like kids and what your hopes are for the future and all that sort of stuff. But there's nothing like when you actually get married. So I find in my marriage, I've always been a workaholic. So my wife had to learn how to manage with a workaholic husband. I had to learn how to live with a person that's an action or an attitude. She never stops. She's always got something on the go. So just stop and have a talk. Me the workaholic. She the person that's super busy doing lots of different things. It's really important, and you find out I'm the play person with the kids when the kids were young. My wife didn't play with the kids. She looked after other stuff, and so you have to work those things through, and it'll be no matter what relationship you're in, because it's 24/7 your relationship once you get married. And you find out all sorts of stuff.
You do, and off the back of that, I must say that is very real in the sense that I too am a workaholic, and that's one thing that we would consistently clash about in our relationship is that me being the workaholic that I am, I mean, real estate is not 9 to 5, it is 24/7. Now, that was okay before we had children. Then I was having to adjust to raising children, being a mother, but still wanting this career. There was no way I was letting that go. And he was the fun. He is still to this day the fun parent. He is, in a job that allows him to just be chill and switch off after he finishes. That is something now, since being separated, and even towards the end of our relationship, that I acknowledged was not necessarily, well, in my mind, I thought, that's a flaw that I have. I need to be mindful of my career, because if I don't find a partner that's willing to accept me being this workaholic, I'm going to have the same problem again. Also, I look back on our relationship and I know that I never really would stop to have the conversation, even though he, would go to work, do his thing and come home. I was always in property mode. And I would never stop to have the conversation and ask him how was his day, how are you feeling? It was just, have you got the kids sorted? I need to do this. And he was always there for that. But again, it was something that he would voice regularly as being an issue. Yeah. But I wouldn't stop to speak about that.
So you couldn't see that it was an issue back then, could you?
He would make, yes, I could, because he would make comments here and there. However, I would just take that as an attack.
Oh, really?
And so then we'd cut the conversation short. It'd be done. I'd be out the door, off to my next appointment. Or we'd have a quick conversation that would turn into a blue, because I felt the way that he was delivering what he was trying to say was a personal attack on me and my career.
Right.
Because I felt that he was somebody that did not want me to have a career. It's like, you now have had children, you must give up your career.
Yeah.
But in this, like, you know, at the same time, I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute. I'm working to give us the life that we're living.
Yeah.
So you either want me to work and make money, and so we can live this lifestyle, or we don't. Like, that was something that I was constantly having to conflict. Yeah.
What would you say about that, or Duku or Jim? What would you say about that?
For me, what I would say, and I think going back to what Jim was saying, I feel like for me, I try to lean more on the biblical understanding of things as well. I don't know what everyone's faith is, but I think Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the book of Corinthians, I believe chapter 13, verse 4 to 7, it talks about love being, patient, it being kind, and I think sometimes, we live in a very hyper world where things are moving fast, and sometimes we can feel like we're being left behind, especially when we have genuine intentions and we want to do things properly, but at the same time, there's a lot of, glitz and glamours around, where we're living. But I feel like being able to take the time and acknowledge, the fact that you can't rush greatness, you can't rush what is supposed to be good. And I think something about me, which I look for, and I try not to do, is I don't try to, I don't like accepting, I don't do tacit approvals. And what I mean by that is, when let's say we're talking about different things, this explicit communication, but then there would be, let's say, certain things where individuals would do, but because, no one says anything about it, even if we're not comfortable with that person's behavior, we may not say anything. And because of that, that person will be like, wait a minute, maybe they're comfortable with this, And an example is, let's say one day, you work in a corporate office and you decide to come to work in your pajamas, and your boss or your colleagues, they're uncomfortable about it, but they don't say anything about it, but you got the whole day without anyone mentioning anything, about how you're looking. And you're like, you know what, this is okay, no one is saying anything about this. And then because of that, you just keep repeating the pattern. And then it gets to a point where, the moment someone says something about it, you're like, if it was a problem, why didn't you say that earlier?
Yes.
So you get triggered.
You know what I mean?
That's the trigger.
Yes, it is the trigger, and that's right, because I was working in real estate and still am, but it was never raised as being an issue until the kids came.
Yeah.
But obviously,
did you realise you were a workaholic? I mean, I didn't realise I didn't know.
I didn't know.
Jim, that was a good one. That was a good one.
I didn't know, and I think I've only just accepted the fact that I am, since being separated, that yes, I am, because I set these high expectations for myself and for my clients.
Yeah.
To me, it's normal. So, and this is also, another thing is that I just expect that everyone is the same when it comes to their career, especially if they're a real estate agent. Everyone should operate on the same level that I do, but not everyone operates on that level. But then that level is probably not really good because it impacts the relationship. But no, I did not realise.
And I think sometimes we don't know our level of intensity,
No. And so, I look at him, he is just goes with the motions. Happy to go with the flow. I'm not like that.
You gotta plan everything.
I am goal driven.
You're a hustler, yeah?
Yeah, I'm a hustler. I will hustle.
There's hustlers all across the
Yes,
world.
I know. I've already tried to get Jim to sell me his land.
However, you start to realise that when I was the CEO, and so and some people would be getting worn out, and I'd say, why don't you have some time off? And they say, well, you don't ever have any time off.
I know.
And so they were expecting to work as hard as I was working. I didn't realise that the knock-on effect of that, that it had not only on my wife, but on the people that worked for me, because they felt that it was irresponsible not to work like the boss worked. because it was Christian work,
Yeah, well,
and so they had this service to God thing, and yeah, not wasn't helpful for them.
no, and same with my ex. He would say that I made him feel inferior because of my career, my drive.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that. And this was all stuff that would come out after we'd separated.
Yeah.
But not once did he ever let me know that I made him feel that way.
That's toxic.
Yeah.
It's toxic, you know, and I think it says more about him and not you. You know, like in a sense where, you know, and this goes back to knowing yourself more. You know, I feel like he's someone who, obviously I don't know him, but at the same time, you know, I feel like he may have been someone who may have needed to know himself a bit better. You know, because
Yes.
sometimes what ends up happening is that we end up attaching our identity, our self of, you know, being and our self-worth onto, you know, like onto other individuals, you know, and because of that, how we're feeling, how, you know, like everything is flowing is based on the motion of that individual, and we feel like we may not have our own identity or our own life.
Well, let me take his side and say, if you are a workaholic, you are attaching a fair bit of your identity to your business, to your work.
Yes.
Correct. So, and he's also attaching his identity to his partner. He's married. So everybody there is attaching their identity to something else.
Yes.
Right.
And I was attaching my identity to him just because if he would feel some type of way, all of a sudden my emotion would switch and I would be feeling, if he was down, I'm feeling down.
Yeah.
Like there was like this invisible umbilical cord.
But would you say you were more committed to the relationship than you were committed to business? No.
I was, well, I was loyal to him, if that's what you mean.
You're loyal.
Yeah, I
but
was loyal to my relationship, but if, no,
in terms of priority, business came first.
yes, always. And I would ask,
Say always.
yes,
That's the
always.
statement.
Yes, because I'm a hustler, but also so is he. In his own line of work, which is personal training
Yeah.
and being a chef. So, you know, being a PT.
So how like let's put this question on the floor. How should we be prioritizing relationship? When does business become too much? At what point business first becomes an emotional avoidance?
Well, the minute your partner raises, this is for me now moving into a new relationship. The minute someone makes a comment about my career, or that they feel that I'm putting business before them, is when I would just drop it all to sit down and actually have a conversation and understand why this person is saying that or feeling that way. What is it about me? What is it that I'm doing to make that person feel that I'm putting business before them?
Yeah.
Because not once really did I ever sit down with my ex to understand that. I didn't care.
Oh, you get
No, because in my mind, I'm out here hustling, working for our family
right. The
to
story.
provide.
So the story you were telling yourself was that I'm here putting 120%.
Yes, into the business so that we can live the life that we live. Also, too, because we were planning things like him being, well, he had to be during COVID, be the stay-at-home dad. Because
Yeah.
in my career, my job, we didn't lose real estate,
Yeah.
but we lost the hospitality industry, put gyms.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I guess I have always, taken.
I'm doing this for us.
Yes.
And you're not seeing the fact that I'm sacrificing all this for us.
Yes. So whilst he would say these things, I'm like, now you're just making me mad. Because where was the recognition? But where is the recognition that I'm out here trying to work for our family and all I'm being is attacked? So then that's too when I'm starting to feel, not attracted to this person anymore because all you're doing is making me feel shit for doing my job so that you can be a stay-at-home dad.
Is there an unset expectation? I know that's definitely one of the biggest killers of relationship is unset expectation. Everybody is thinking that they're doing what's best for the relationship, but nobody really knows what's best for the relationship because communication has not happened.
Correct. Well, there was no expectation from him.
Yeah, one of
No, for me to be like that. I think his expectation was me to stop and listen,
Right.
and I didn't.
Right. And your
And I
expectation
acknowledge
for
that
him-
now. Yeah.
For your expectation for him was for him to understand that you're sacrificing all this
Yes.
for the family.
But I never voiced that.
Oh, you never voiced
Well, no,
that?
sorry. No, I would voice that, but not in a way that was respectful.
Right. So it
When
was
two people
reactive.
sit down, correct, it was reactive. Everything was always reactive, which I now see being in my own space and having my own time to myself, that is unhealthy.
Yeah.
And you're going to get nowhere with somebody by having reactive conversations.
So, Jim, you've been married for 58 years. conflict resolution has to be in your playbook.
That's what you got to choose that.
Conflict resolution. I'm probably a conflict creator. and my wife's probably a conflict avoider. And
We're so alike.
Workaholics, man.
Yeah, workaholics. I always say to people in this line, well, in the line of real estate, is that I love conflict. I don't mind having confrontational conversations. I love the conflict. Whereas he too was
Avoided.
avoidant for any conflict. If his meat came out too raw, he wouldn't say a thing. I'd be like, take that back. You're not eating that, you know. But that's
and I think, that's where what I mentioned earlier comes in, where, some individuals have a stronger identity or stronger personality, to a point where it can somewhat overwhelm other individuals. And if, let's say, they don't say anything to begin with, you think that that's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you go your whole life thinking that's okay. But the moment, let's say, it gets raised up, you're like, but this is how I've always been. Where was this energy? Why didn't you say this to begin with?
Early on, yeah.
Yeah.
So conflict resolution, Jim.
Yep.
Tell us about it.
well, I choose my issues. If I know it's a no-win,
Don't play the pick my battle card.
I don't enjoy the thing. But both of us have to inform each other when things are not going well.
Yeah.
And I'm probably slower, although I'm the conflict creator, I'm probably slower at informing her than she is informing me. Any type of conflict that you have, because you've been in a relationship so long, is quite painful. But it's still required to happen. The outcomes are not always good, but the return on investment is there.
Yeah.
So if you just avoid it, as happened in yours for so long, then eventually it boils over.
Yeah.
And there comes to a point where there's no rescue.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, things can be rescued, but there does come a crunch point where you're just so far grown apart that you can't repair the stuff.
Is it that you've grown far apart, or is it that some people don't have the capacity for conflict resolution, or they don't have a capacity to stay in a healthy relationship? Is that a capacity problem?
Oh, I guess there's all sorts of dynamics. So let's say there's blokes that never grow up. There are some women like that, but there are blokes that never grow up.
Or what? There are blokes that cheat on their partners.
That's right. And those blokes that never grow up, they never grow up, and they're not suitable to marry anybody. And they always want to be outplayed by boys and all the rest of that. That's useless. So if any of our listeners are in that sort of relationship.
Yeah, if he's always putting the boys before you, not wanting to spend time at home with you on the weekends, I'd be running for the hills, because you think about that as a future father to your children.
That's right.
If he keeps putting the boys before you,
That's right.
come on now, you're lying to yourself.
But the boys were there since day one.
Yeah.
Oh, no, don't even get me.
It's very destructive.
I've heard that line before.
So creepy, I knew.
But there's other destructive things, like alcohol, can be destructive drugs, womanizing, as you mentioned. There are a number of destructive things that are extraordinarily hard to repair. Some of them can be repaired. So sometimes alcohol can be repaired. People get help through AA or whatever, but often it can't, and it leads to the destruction of marriage.
It does, and with that, womanizing, I made multiple decisions and choices to stay within my relationship because I loved this man. with my entire being. It's all I knew. We then had children, and we'd always say to each other we wanted to change the narrative and not end up like our parents with the separated families. And we wanted to keep that unit together. But then as time kept going on and these situations kept occurring, and I would think to myself, how am I going to walk down this aisle? And I say this to anyone I talk to. How am I going to walk down the aisle to a man that I know has been with multiple women during the time of our relationship, and all I have been with is you? You don't deserve me having said to you, I do. Why? And so I'd always think this when I go look at wedding venues and plan, and I would be just filled with anxiety and stress. My hands would get sweaty. I'd shut the laptop because my nervous system was like, this is not what you want. Why do you keep choosing to stay in this relationship when you know what has occurred is not right?
Well,
and it's not going to change.
And it would never change.
So once he's been with multiple people, it's not going to change.
No, I know.
They make all the promises and everything else, but they won't keep those promises.
That's right, and it just never did. It kept occurring every time and time and again. I would not listen to my parents.
Yeah. So let me put it into perspective. So there will be young girls watching this episode that will be thinking, I do the very same thing.
Yes.
I keep going back and back and back, even though I know it's not healthy for me. What would you say to them?
You don't love yourself enough. You don't love yourself. You don't have respect for yourself. You are settling for someone that does not give a shit about you at all. No matter how much they tell you, I love you, I'm sorry, I won't do it again.
But he will change.
He will change, that's right.
That's what they say, right?
That's right, that's what they say.
Yeah, that's right, all the time.
All the time.
I have seen it so many times.
And also you feel as a person, and I'm an empath, and I truly believed that I could love this man into changing. 14 years of my life loving this man the way I loved him, and he would always say, no one will love me like you do. He knew that, yet it didn't stop you from doing what you were doing.
You know what I would say to that is that people lie, but patterns don't.
That's right.
And for me, what I tend to do, I tend to analyze people's patterns. Even my own, because the truth is there may be times where we may be the one who may say, I may stop being a workaholic. But then when the client calls, you're out of the door in less than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Or that person may say, I'm gonna change this and that. But when, let's say, you take a time to actually analyze the patterns over time, how someone has been operating for the last 4 years, looking at that, you can somewhat determine how how their operation would be, for the next 4 years.
Yes.
And unless you're able to say a level of, active decision making when it comes to, taking steps in changing the patterns, then you can just believe the patterns more than, what the person says.
Yeah.
Because people lie, but patterns don't.
No, they don't. And also the people that go and jump from relationship to relationship, the minute you step out of a long-term relationship, and then you just go into the next, those are people that have not changed, even though they say they have. So you don't go from a 14. Imagine if I went from my relationship straight into another relationship with somebody 3 weeks later. I come with my own traumas.
How crazy is it that people do that?
My ex did do
Or
that.
then you can easily say, it wasn't my fault, it was theirs. My ex-partner is the reason.
Yes, absolutely, and they all do that. They absolutely all do that. But see, for me, what I have been sharing on my social media to help women see these patterns, I couldn't see these patterns. And it's not until you are literally outside and away from this person that you can sit with yourself. If you sit with yourself long enough, I've been single for 2.5 years, and I have been through the darkest days. I would sit on my bathroom floor bawling my eyes out because I'm trying to understand, one, why this man couldn't love me. I gave him my all. How do we now navigate this co-parenting life? It was just a shit show, which I openly shared online. Now I've lost my train of thought because someone was looking in the window.
Oh, yeah.
See her?
I feel like they were listening. They
I know.
they were absorbing what we were saying.
What
So so you're talking about the process that you went through, and
yes, but it was off the back of you saying something.
Yes, it was more, being able to spend time with yourself.
Spend time with yourself.
Yes.
And
Yes.
look, I think what you're referring to here is you're now getting insight. And
I'm very aware.
Yeah, one of the sad things I find is that people often get married again after they've had a relationship like yourself, but they don't do the hard work of saying, all right, what was it in me that made me behave this way? What did I contribute? And also, if you're going to marry someone else that's been divorced or in a sort of relationship, you have to work through together. Okay, what did I contribute, or what did you contribute to the last breakup? So let's make sure that we're very aware of this, and we're not going to repeat it again.
Yeah.
And therefore, I think that's when it's quite good to go to a marriage counsellor,
Yes.
because at that point they can help you unpack.
Yeah.
What did you contribute to the breakup? And, yeah.
It's very true. I agree.
So probably if very early in your relationship, with the first infidelity that he had to you, if you had confronted him then and said, I'm leaving, if this ever happens again, you probably didn't have the internal reserves to do that, but let's say you did.
Yeah.
It may have woken him up. It just possibly doesn't.
Well, no, that's right.
I'm not saying there's likelihood of success, but there might have been.
But that's, you're right, and there could have been, because, and that's what I think about now. In you know, you let someone treat you some type of way one time, and then you allow it and not say anything, they're going to do it again. Yeah. But whereas if you nipped in the butt as soon as it happens, that person is probably going to be like, oh wow, oh my god, she's pulled me up about that. I'll reconsider how I move next time.
Or they can get super sneaky.
Well, I know. See, don't even open that. Don't open that lock.
Because I've seen that happen before.
Oh, but see,
where you confront it, so then they get pretty sneaky now and hiding things even better.
Well, I know. this is the thing.
Which is what Duku said. Patterns don't lie.
That's right. But how do you then? I know. See, this is where love gets scary, because people can be sneaky. Have these hidden folders in their phone that you can't access because it needs a passcode and it's got a lock to it. Like, I didn't know about a hidden file until someone else.
What's a hidden folder?
Don't give people ideas, but the viewers.
I know. In your camera roll. In your camera roll, you can have a hidden folder and put all your photos and God knows what else you want in there, and your partner wouldn't even know that you've got the hidden file. Now, I wasn't aware of that until some guy told me about a hidden file that he had on his phone. So for someone like me that came from old school dating, and it was just us having to literally see each other, him and I, in the gym, or pick up the phone and dial each other. There was no social media, no dating apps, none of that for us. So that is what I'm used to, and that is what I still expect dating to be like. Obviously, I have come to the realization very quickly that is not the way it goes these days. Times have changed. But people are doing things like that, and I'm so afraid. I do not want to go through the heartbreak and traumas that I've just been through, and I'm working on healing myself, because I've got children to also now protect and consider. I know where I'm dealing with someone with hidden files in their phone and multiple numbers.
Hidden folders are there. Oh my goodness.
I know. Like,
so do you guys believe in the statement that says you attract who you are?
Absolutely not, because how did I attract that? I was a girl with no... He was my first relationship. No, absolutely not. I feel that they see something vulnerable in somebody, especially my age at the time, just using that age as the example. If you're 15, do not get into a relationship with someone that tells you they love you, because that's not love, I believe. Because how can you say that you attract what you are at 15? I'm not attracted.
You know what I think it is? Sometimes our natural inclination takes the best of us. You know.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is, so for example, every animal, every animal has their own inclination. You know, when it comes to the fight or flight, they hear a sound, before you know it, their body takes control, and they react to it. And just like how the moment you try to catch a bird, the bird just flies. You know, so as humans, there are certain things we're naturally inclined to do or to react, in a certain way. But the good thing with humans is that we can learn and unlearn certain behaviors and patterns. But if we're not careful, that nature, like that animalistic aspect of us, somewhat, takes the best of us. And, like Jim mentioned, those emotions, the emotions that we feel, the infatuation that we feel, the lust that we feel, those are, like natural inclinations as humans
Yeah.
that, that we have. And if we're not careful, those takes the best out of us. And then before you know it, especially if someone is, let's say, 15 or around that age, those inclinations take, the best of you.
Well, yes, because also I guess you could see someone paying you that attention, right? And you think, oh, here's someone that is interested in me. Like, what is it about me? So then it's like butterflies. You get excited.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then your brain goes to mush.
Correct. And it did.
So even
You're like any.
Oh, and it did.
even
Until I was 28.
look, even smart people, when they fall in love, then their brain that's somehow in the past.
Yeah.
And taking considered, careful action. This is going to be for a long time.
Yes. And I think a lot of people too forget to actually feel, and this is another thing, is that I think people forget to feel. All people are so focused on is, what can this person provide? How much money does he make? Can he be a good dad? Like people aren't focusing on how a person actually makes them feel.
A very good example. Don't judge me on this, but something that I've been indulging a lot when I travel or different things. I've been watching this Pop the Balloon or Find Love.
Yes, I've seen that.
So
Pop the
here and
balloon.
there.
Yes.
And
Oh, honestly, some of those make me really cranky. Some guy popped a balloon because of her shoes. Like, are you kidding me? You don't even know if she makes you feel good or not. You don't like her shoes pop.
And I mean, to be fair, in terms of entertainment, it is fairly entertaining. But at the same time, when you think about it, those people are being serious. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. So you have to take that as true.
Yeah, and the fact that and the fact that you can see that, and you're like, wait, people actually make decisions based on that. They're popping because of the clothes that they're wearing. Like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's certain things to do with it, but
No, but also it's like, and you wonder why you're still single though, because you're not going past how someone appears, the physical.
So are people actually still desiring love in this generation?
Of course.
Yes, I desire real love.
Of course, humans are humans are humans. That will never change.
That will never change.
But do we think these ones that are in my DMs want love?
wait,
Or are they just going through a phase and hoping that I'll be a pit
If
stop?
they say, hey, sexy, they're not looking for a relationship.
No.
what are they
Looking
looking
for something else.
So
Yes.
they're gonna change the DM. Say, hey, love.
I'll be these clowns now.
Yeah, but you know something interesting. So, what do you call it? There were times where, for me, one of the challenges, I do a lot of different things, is speaking, and a lot of times when people meet me, they meet me, or they see me, when I'm working, because my work is in the public eye, so I'm always in front of people, and normally when I do a speech here and there, or when I'm going to different events, for me, it would be more of, let's say, I'm in a work mode, but the content is going out there, and people are feeling like they're knowing me on a personal level, so now when people meet me, it's like they feel like they have this personal connection to me.
Yes.
And while for me, I'm just like, that is my profession, that is what I get paid to do, that is what I do for work. And it gets to a point, where I feel like different individuals, for me, I don't know whether it is actually a genuine approach, when it comes to, I'm genuinely wanting to get to know me, or they're more, attracted to what, my work is, where they're thinking, that's me on a personal level. I mean, my work does have a personal attribute to it.
Yes.
But at the same time, for me, I'm just like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Is this actually genuine love? Or is it more based on the things that I do or the things that I see?
Yes, we'll agree, because a lot of my life I have shared on social media. So I give people access to my life, right, by what I share online. So they think that they know me on this personal level. A lot of people do. They think they know my children because when we're out in public, they'll stop the kids and be like, hey, I know you guys. Oh, wait, no, I don't know you guys, but I know you through social media. So I have taken time to realize that by me choosing what I share online, it does give people this feeling that they can just slide into the DMs like that.
Yes.
And so I'm currently navigating, thinking of what I shouldn't maybe share so that I attract the right person or people when it comes to
But
love.
maybe not on social media.
No.
I mean,
So where should we
so
go?
the young people I've worked with.
Jim,
No, well, I think, very, very true, Jim, because I think I will actually, and, I think I hope this also, obviously, it's a little bit of hope, that I will meet someone through the line of work that I do.
I think that's likely, but also it's possible through a dating app. So
No.
So
Jim.
Really?
Let me ask my question. No, let me ask my question.
Let him cook.
There's something he said. There's something he said that triggered me. I didn't ask my question.
John, you're being reactive, not proactive. Let Jim cook.
So a number of the young people that I've dealt with, and I've dealt with hundreds of them because that's my line of work. A number of them been successful in finding partners in that. I mean, you have to be extraordinarily careful, but there are genuine people on those dating apps that are looking for genuine relationship. Whereas if somebody's replying to your sort of swimwear or whatever else, then they're not really thinking. They've got a different thing in their head.
Yes.
And you really, so obviously the majority of people on the dating apps, they're not. So it has to be a very strong filter system and a long process before you even meet the first time.
Yes.
So you want to be super cautious.
Yeah.
But the same with social networking, social stuff,
Because sometimes you may meet those people in real life.
Yes.
So where should we go? Because this is my question, Jim. Because back in your days, you guys could have face-to-face conversation very quickly, very easily. Right now, loneliness is at an all-time high. Everybody wants connection,
Yes.
and everybody has access to everybody, but nobody can find love.
Yeah.
How is that possible? Where should we go? In the church? I had a man tell me, nah, the churches are the worst.
I think if you're a Christian young person and you're going to a youth group, I think that's a good beginning. If you're actually doing Christian ministry, going into some interdenominational ministry where you're a volunteer, then you're likely to meet people. But if you're not in that sort of environment where you can naturally meet people, then it's possible you can do some of the secular overseas things where a group of people go over and they do some sort of social work somewhere. And you meet people therefore with your own sort of heart. So you try and find people with your own sort of heart. If you're a big tennis player or if you're whatever you might happen to be, try and go where there are people that are going to have the similar sort of interests as you have. But I think dating apps are also helpful. Not only if you, but you need to be very selective
And be on there
very
for the right
cautious.
reasons.
Yes, that's right.
And be able to identify the people who are there for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
So we come towards the end of the podcast today. I had a lot of fun. I'm sure we're going to do a part 2. There's so many things I haven't touched on. So many things I haven't touched on. And I really appreciate you all coming in and talking and sharing your views and perspective. I think this is a wonderful little group. Most of our viewers are between the age of 20 to 40. A little bit higher than that as well. And they're listening right now. And some of them are tired, they're hurt, desiring love but afraid to commit. And they've heard you guys talk about what it truly means to be in love, what love is, what love is not. If I could get you guys to just quickly give us quick 30-second advice you would give to somebody that is tired, hurt, desiring love but afraid to commit and is watching this episode. Let's start with you, Jim.
Just hear the question again.
What advice would you give to somebody who is tired, hurt, desiring love, but is afraid to commit?
I think that it's important to test the waters, do it slowly. But with love, there's always danger. The more you love, the more you can be hurt. So there's no safe love. Even with the love of your children, you can't be safe because your children may reject you. You never know. You can do your very best thing in the world, but
And
they
we
can
see
make a
it.
choice. So I came from a good family, but I chose to rebel and caused a lot of grief for my father. Sent me off to a private school. And it's a letter asking to withdraw me from the school because of my behaviour. Fortunately, I became a Christian and it made the world of difference to me. But yeah, there's danger in love because you have to. So if my wife hurts me, I've got to reach out to her in love with the potential of being hurt more.
Wow.
And that's what love is. Your children hurt you.
I reach out with love
sometimes.
all the time.
And then you extend more love.
Yes.
Yes, you do discipline them,
Yeah.
which hurts you
It does.
enormously.
Yes.
But you
But I always
extend more
meet them
love
with
to
love.
them.
Yeah.
That's right.
Even if they throw more hurt back towards me.
Well, that's right.
What an advice.
Mm.
What about you, Duku? What would you say, real quickly?
For me, I would say, as much as we may go through a lot of different challenges in life, we may, let's say, face and come across different individuals who may hurt us in different ways. We are still all deserving of love. It is something that, as humans, we're all, we are all endowed with, and we do deserve it. No human being doesn't deserve to be loved or doesn't deserve, to love another person. I think it is, the highest commandment in the Bible.
Just to love.
Tell your neighbors like you will love yourself. And because of that, I would say, as part of that, if you do desire love, I would say first desire it yourself. See what characteristics you have and what loving characteristics that you can develop, whether it is being more kind, being more helpful, being more genuine. And I think through that, and Jim mentioned this, through those things that you generally enjoy doing, you may end up finding someone else who may love you back for those things as well.
Yeah, authentic. What about you, Charles?
Well, I mean, Jim said it all, really. But for me, it's not comparing the other person. If someone hurts you, and that's why you're afraid to commit, do not walk into your next relationship or think that everyone is going to be like that person. You are deserving of the love. You know what you bring to the table, and someone will meet you there.
What about you, Joe?
For anybody watching that is tired, hurt, and desiring love, I would say to them that the love that you're looking for first must be found within. And once you find the love within, you start to radiate that energy and radiate that love without, and the right people
Will be attracted.
will come to you. You don't have to find anybody, because whoever's meant to be for you is already waiting for you. The love that you deserve is looking for you. Thank you so much for all of you that jumped in and listened to Charles, listened to Duku and Jim. They shared some really important things about love and relationship fulfillment. Be expecting for a part 2. If you haven't subscribed yet, go in and check the full episode. It will be out on Spotify, on YouTube, and we got clips coming out through on Instagram and TikTok as well. So thank you so much. The Discover You podcast, where our relationship fulfillment, Brisbane, we're coming. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed our content, please follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and TikTok. And if you really want to support us, please support us on Patreon, Subscribestar, and Crypto. I personally want to say thank you to all of you that are following us, and I want to make a promise that if you follow us, if you subscribe to our channel, that we will keep producing the best, highest form of quality content to add value to your life and help you find fulfillment in life. Thank you.